Jumping on a new trend will make you money in the stock market. That's a no-brainer. The million-dollar question is, how do we find these trends before everyone else? Grab a drink, take a seat. Let me show you what I got. What's up, y'all? It's Brian. This is my YouTube investing portfolio series where I invest in a different company every week. This week, I'm doing trend analysis. The first step is to find a trend and then find companies that are likely to benefit from that trend. And then finally, step 3 is locate a company where the masses have not infiltrated and already pushed the value of the company up beyond what it's worth. So the number one way that I like to find trends is to leverage data on the internet. The best website for this is Exploding Topics. This website is the best because they take extra pains to make sure that they're not just putting fads, scraping the web for all of the search data and avoiding topics like movies or video games that are just going to quickly rise and fall. These are long-term trends that are likely to see upward growth throughout 2025, which is exactly what I want to see. They update this list monthly. So this is per March 2025. They've got 100 different items on here. It would take me a while to go through all of these. So I like to take this list and put it into ChatGPT just to make this process quicker. They do give you a little bit of a synopsis at the bottom, some of the big new rising trends that they see. Given the list of long-term trending topics below and their growth rates, what are the common themes on the rise? What does this tell you about people's values now and in the next 5 years? Then I pasted all of the trends, and ChatGPT comes with a few common themes. Number 1, AI. This one's a no-brainer. Obviously, AI is trending. However, it's difficult to find companies that benefit from AI these days because it just seems like there's a little bit of a bubble in AI. So lately, I've been trying to avoid this a little bit. The next trend, which I've seen in the past, is health and wellness and biohacking. The list seems to get bigger every single time I do this trend analysis. So the one that I really want to hone in on is health and wellness, but I want to put a little bit of a spin on it, which I'll show you in a second. Clean and functional, sustainable living is a big trend. Micro aesthetic and personal expression, next level entertainment and creator tools, mental health, fitness, a lot of health related stuff, which of course we are seeing. Now let's look at this again as an investor looking to capitalize on the rising trends. More specifically, I want to lean into health trends. I see a rise in convenient health. Give me a list of publicly traded companies that can profit off of people looking for convenient health solutions. Please include your rationale for each. The first batch of companies that ChatGPT comes up with are Hims & Hers, Teladoc, CVS, LifeMD, McKesson, and Well Health Technologies. So the common theme that I see with most of these are they're companies like Teladoc. They are implementing technology into medicine. That's great, but I'm more wanting to key in on convenient products and services where people can just buy a product and use it, and it takes very little effort and they can feel like they're getting healthier. In my mind, that's the trend that I keep seeing again and again. So Hims & Hers falls into that category. However, I've already invested in Hims & Hers, and that is one of my best investments on this YouTube portfolio series so far. So I want to key in on more companies like that. So my next question to ChatGPT is, what about companies that profit from health supplements or products? Focus on items that people can purchase and consume or use that do not require any additional effort from the consumer. It shows Herbalife, Simply Good Foods, which I've also invested in, Bell Ringer Brands, Jameson Wellness, USANA Health Sciences, Glanbia, Applied Nutrition, and Niagen Bioscience. So these are the 8 companies. Now, a few of these actually are not traded on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, so I'm going to eliminate those right off the bat, which leaves us with Herbalife, Simply Good Foods, Bell Ring Brands, USANA, and finally Niagen. So the next step is to take these stock tickers, and I like to create a custom watch list on stockanalysis.com, which I've done right here. This allows me to put in my own custom screeners to see, which of these companies are more likely to be of value. That is the key step in my mind. After finding a trend that is obviously growing, I want to find companies that have not already been oversaturated with investors. And one of the best ways to do that is to find value companies. So my number one metric for finding value companies is price to free cash flow ratio. I like companies that produce lots of free cash flow because the free cash flow is the number that really a company is going to return to shareholders. They're using their free cash flow to buy back shares, pay dividends, pay off their long-term debts, cash acquisitions, or expanding their business. So the free cash flow is the number one thing I like to look at. I also like to see the PE ratio, their revenue growth over the next 5 years, And then the higher these margins, typically the better. High margins show that a company has a competitive advantage over the other companies in their sector. So straight away, Herbalife is number one on the price to free cash flow. They have relatively tight margins, so that is a little bit of a red flag. But let's first start with Herbalife and see how does their stock price look compared to their future free cash flow growth. Herbalife is currently trading at $8.57 per share. I can see over the last 5 years that their stock price has dropped significantly. So that is a little bit of a red flag. I'm not sure right off the bat why their stock price has dropped so much. Currently, they're very cheap compared to their free cash flow. If they're likely to recover, then this could be a really good company to purchase, assuming it's going to benefit from this trend that we're seeing. So first thing I like to do is use my automated spreadsheet. I type in Herbalife's ticker at the top. I've implemented a lot of Warren Buffett's red flags that he looks at in a company's financials. This is something that I'm going over in another video series. So if you're curious to see in depth about these red flags, you can check that video out. Right off the bat, I'm seeing red flags right here for interest percentage and profit margin. So their profit margins are razor slim, so that's not good. They also have a high percentage of operating income goes towards paying interest on loans. So for a company that's been falling in share price and has slim margins, I could see myself investing in a company like that. But when they also have a high debt obligation, that brings the risk outside of my tolerance, because the main reason a company is going to go bankrupt and shareholders are going to lose all their money is if they cannot handle their debt. So when I look at the profit per year graph, I see profit dropping over the last 5 years, earnings per share dropping over the last 5 years. Their long-term debt is in the red. They pay 46% of their operating income goes to paying their interest payments. This company just looks too risky to me. They've got a few other red flags and some green flags, but just the combination of thin margins, dropping profit, and then a high debt makes this company a little bit too scary for me. Now, when I go to their financials, I can also see that their revenue has been dropping year over year the last 3 years. And when I go to their forecast, I can see what the analysts think about their future. The analysts are thinking some growth going into the future. So I will go ahead and just showcase what is the intrinsic value calculation based on their current free cash flow and their future projected revenue, which I use to calculate their future projected free cash flow. And according to this, they are quite undervalued. For those low analyst projections, they are saying revenue drops of 3.5%, 1.8%, and then a revenue increase of 2.2% in 2027. This is as far as the analysts would project. So I filled in for the next 2 years because I like to have 5 years of estimates. So full disclosure, these are my projections. I just threw those numbers in there to get a good spread of possibilities. So according to this, the analyst low projections put Herbalife share price at $24 per share. If they can turn it around, there's a lot of upside with Herbalife, considering their current share price is $8.57. However, I think they're priced this low for a reason. I think Herbalife is just too risky given their high debt payments. So I'm going to pass on Herbalife. The next best company in terms of price to free cash flow is USANA. USANA Health Sciences is trading at $27.75. It has also been dropping quite a bit over the last 5 years. So that is another red flag that I want to look into. When I put USANA into my automated spreadsheet, straight away I can see that the analyst projections are pretty good compared to the current share price. The analyst low projections are at $73 per share, and the current share price is $27 per share. So once again, a really high upside, but the question is, am I going to find enough red flags to eliminate this company? Going to my Warren Buffett red flag page, I can see that gross margins are looking really good. R&D looks good. Interest is good. So they do not have the same red flag in terms of debt payments. However, they do pay a lot of their money away in selling general and administrative expenses. So that is a red flag, along with the profit margin being a red flag. So this company needs to become more profitable. When I look at their profit per year, it's been going down. Their earnings per share has been going down. However, they have zero long-term debt. When I look at their retained earnings has been going up, which is really good. Inventories and profit have been going down, but they've been going down together. I want to see a correlation between those two, but I do not want to see them going down, obviously. Debt and cash levels very low, or the debt's very low and the cash levels have been dropping a bit. But once again, I'm not as bothered by the cash and the shrinking profits because I'm seeing very, very, very little debt. So that for me is enough to go on to the next phase and look at what kind of upside can I expect if USANA is able to turn it around. And then also, are they going to turn it around? So the first step is to go to the forecast and see what do the analysts think. And for revenue growth, I only see analyst projections going 2 years out. So that means I'm going to have to fill in the blanks with my own projections, or if I can find some information from the company's guidance. So I'm copying those projections and then I'm going to paste them into my automated spreadsheet to get a better free cash flow intrinsic value analysis. These numbers right here, I'm gonna have to fill in myself. And in fact, I might just leave it the way it is right now. This looks reasonable to me. The highest revenue projections start to drop off towards 7% revenue growth in 2029. The average is right in the middle, shrinking down to 3%, which is in line with inflation. And then the lowest analyst projections, we'll leave the analyst projections there, but I'm gonna show revenue shrinkage instead of growth, just to be a little bit more conservative going forward. With the analyst projections in place, the intrinsic value in the lowest case scenario is $77 per share, which is a huge upside. So once again, I'm going to do a little bit more to make this more conservative of an estimate. And so to do that, I'm going to adjust the past free cash flow margin. So this margin is their average margin over the last 5 years. However, if I go to this graph right here, I can see that their free cash flow margin has been shrinking. So I'm going to have their future free cash flow margin shrink as well, just to continue with their current trend. So in this cell right here, free cash flow margin growth, I just put in a -1 to account for a 1% per year drop in free cash flow. And that changes the analyst low projection quite a bit to $39 per share. I'm also going to change the perpetual growth rate to 0. This is just assuming that the company never grows again, not even with inflation. Their revenue stays the same after 10 years. Their annualized revenue growth over the next 5 years, I have it at 3. The next 5 years, I have it at 3. And then the perpetual growth rate at 0. With that in mind, the lowest projections and my projection is $32 and $34 per share. On the other hand, if they continue with their past revenue growth, which is 5.5% shrinkage, the anticipated share price today would be $26 per share. My next question is, how likely is it that USANA turns it around? Current share price, $27 per share. So what this tells me is that the market believes that they're going to continue on their current trend, losing revenue year over year. I think it's likely for USANA to grow their revenue over the next 5 years. I went to ChatGPT and I used the deep search function, which I really, really like. I said, I'm trying to find USANA forward revenue guidance for the fiscal year 2025. Please provide me with a source for USANA's own revenue guidance. It just asked me a confirming question. I said yes. It thought for 3 minutes. It pulled up 5 sources, and it says that USANA's official outlook for fiscal year 2025 is revenue growth of somewhere between 8 and 17%. So the own company's revenue guidance is assuming an increase of somewhere between 8 and 17%, which is in line with the average and the high analyst projections. And then once I pull up one of these sources, I can see the fiscal year 2025 outlook. Because the analysts and the company's guidance both show a turnaround in 2025 and beyond, I'm comfortable with looking at this analyst low projection and saying, I think I could invest in this company. So the last thing I want to look at is I want to put in the annualized revenue growth that it would take for today's share price to make sense. So based on the next 5 years, 0 growth, the 5 years after that, -1% revenue growth, and then into perpetuity, -1% revenue growth. So basically, this company is projected to just slowly shrink. If that is the case, then my projection comes out to $27 per share, which is their current share price. So this is what the market thinks is going to happen. If just the lowest analyst projections come to be true, let's say a growth rate of 3% over the next 5 years, 3% for the 5 years after that, and then 3% into infinity, then my projection goes up to $43 per share. So we're looking at an upside of over 50% if this company is able to just grow by 3% revenue for the next 10 years and then on after that. Whereas the company's own guidance puts its revenue growth between 8 and 15%. So in my mind, the upside of this company is attractive enough compared to the risk because they just don't have any long-term debt at all. With no long-term debt, I just don't see this company goes bankrupt. USANA is continually making free cash flow, and they are using that cash flow to repurchase common stock. As long as they are continually repurchasing their common stock, the earnings per share should eventually turn around as the pie shrinks and as each person's share becomes worth a greater and greater percentage of the company. So if they can just maintain their current levels of revenue and their current profitability, then this company is overvalued. This is the one that I'm investing in. A little bit like catching a falling knife. A lot of people will say, do not invest in companies that are on the downturn. But in this case, I think the upside and the risk line up well enough for me. So that's my investment. Really quickly, I want to go over my YouTube portfolio so far. We started investing in December and we are currently down about $48, which is 4.5% money weighted rate of return. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm investing in value companies because I'm trying to be defensive. And if I look at the S&P 500 in December, when I started, S&P 500 is down nearly 10% and I'm only down about 4.5%. So it fluctuates quite a bit day to day because I am investing in individual companies. So currently I have 14 investments. Kroc and Hims are two of my top ones right now. My worst holdings being Google and Zeta. Both of those are down about 20%. Some of these other companies are up anywhere between 0 and 8%. These two are down 10%. I'm investing in a new company every single week. And so as my portfolio grows, it'll become more and more diversified. And in that way, a single company will not have as big of an impact as it does right now, while I only have 14 holdings. If you found this type of content interesting, every week I make a new video on this series. And if you want to see the most recent video in this series, check it out right here. And I will see you there. Cheers. Oh, that's a good one. That is E.H. Taylor, Colonel E.H. Taylor. If you enjoy bourbon, then you know this bottle.